Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Dini Nurfauzia. I am a student at Islamic State University of Purwokerto or Winzaizu. I am from English Department, Faculty of Tarbiyah and Teacher Training, Class 5 TBID. Here, I want to deliver and explain about Islamic education during Umayyad and Abasyid dynasties. So, enjoy the video, guys. Okay. First of all, I want to explain the topic we would like to talk about. There are 4 topics. The first one is about the history of Umayyad and Abbasid dynasties, and then the golden age of these 2 dynasties, the factors of the collapse of these dynasties, and then our main topic, it is Islamic education during Umayyad and Abbasid dynasties. Well, we go to the first point. It is about the history of Umayyad dynasty. After Ali bin Abi Thalib died, the Islamic Caliphate relay was replaced by his son, Hasan bin Ali bin Abi Thalib. However, in 661 AD, Hasan resigned from the Caliphate. This caused the Caliphate of the Muslims to be held by Muawiyah. So, the Umayyads stood by moving the royal capital from Medina to Damascus in Sham. The Umayyad dynasty was the first Islamic empire founded by Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan, came from the Quraysh tribe of the Umayyads. His full name is Muawiyah bin Abi Harb bin Umayyah bin Abdisham bin Manaf. The founder of the Umayyads was one of the authors of the revelations of the Prophet Muhammad. He was also involved in the war against the apostates with his brother and father. During the time of Khulafaur Rashidin, Muawiyah was appointed governor for several areas in Sham by the Caliph Umar bin Khattab. Under the leadership of Muawiyah, the entire region in the region of Syria was successfully united. In addition to being a founder, Muawiyah was also the first caliph of this dynasty in 661 AD. This year is called Amul Jamah because this year all the Ummah Islam agreed on the caliphate of Muawiyah with the title Amirul Mu'minin. According to the record, the Umayyad dynasty was divided into 2 periods. The first period is Umayyad dynasty 1 in Damascus. It was around 661 AD to 750 AD, and the second period is the Umayyad dynasty 2 in Andalus or Spain. It was around 755 AD to 131 AD. Okay. The first period is Umayyad dynasty 1 in Damascus. This dynasty ruled for approximately 90 years and experienced a change of leader 40 times. Among the great Khalifa of this dynasty was Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan. It was around 661 until 618 AD, and then Abdul al-Malik bin Marwan, Al-Walid bin Abdul Malik, Umar bin Abdul Aziz, and Hisham bin Abdul Malik. After the death of Hisham bin Abdul Malik, the Caliph of the Bani Umayyad, who appeared were not only weak but also had bad morals. Finally, in 750 AD, this dynasty was overthrown by the Abbasid dynasty. And then the second period is the Umayyad dynasty in Andalus or Spain. This is the kingdom of Islam in Spain, was founded by Abdurrahman al-Dakhil. When Spain under the rule of the Umayyad II dynasty, the Spanish Muslim began to make progress, especially during the leadership of Abdurrahman al-Awsat. Islamic education showed a very rapid development fast. This is because the Caliph himself is known as a ruler who loves knowledge. He invited experts from the rest of the Islamic world to Spain so that scientific activities there become more lively. Next point is about the golden age of the Umayyad dynasty. During the reign, the Umayyad dynasty achieved many glories, include expansion of territory, and then military, academic sector, health, political, social, cultural, scientific, and the emerge of the most Islamic scientists. The first is territory expansion. Under the rule of the Umayyads, Islam reached the territory of Spain, the whole of Spain, the Arabian Peninsula, Syria, Palestine, and then North Africa, parts of the region Anatolia, Iraq, Persia, Afghanistan, India, and present-day countries named Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan, which belonged to the Soviet Russia. The second is military field. For in the military field, the Umayyad dynasty forming a military organization consisting of the navy or al-Bahriyah and the police force is a shurta. And then in the social culture field, the openness of social interaction between Muslim and their conquered lands produced a new blend of cultures, both in the arts and science knowledge. As in the field of building art or architecture, incites glorious achievements such as Dome of the Rock or Quba as-Sahra in Jerusalem. In the literary arts received increasing attention so that gave birth to great figures such as Al-Ahtal, Farasdak, Turair, and others. Next, in the education and science sector, according to George Zayden, there have been some significant advances achieved during the Umayyad period in the field of scientific development knowledge, including the following: Arabic language development, Marbad as a city center for scientific activities, and then science of Qira'at, science of interpretation, science of hadith, fiqh, nahwu, geography science, date, and translation effort. The last one is Muslim scientists. Here are some scientists, including scientists in religious knowledge. The sciences of fiqh is like Imam Hanafi with his books Al-Faraid, Ashurut, Al-Fiqh al-Akbar, and Imam Malik with his very famous book, namely Al-Muwatta. In the field of Sufism, such as Hasan al-Basri with his teachings Al-Khawf wal-King, Rabi'ah al-Adawiyah with her Mahabah concepts. And then in the chemistry and physics, Abu al-Qasim Abbas bin Farnas developed pure and applied chemistry, which is the foundation of pharmaceutical science related to medical science. The last one is medical science. It's like Abu al-Qasim az-Zahrawi with his work Al-Ta'rif, Lilman Ajaza, and Al-Ta'lif, who become references at universities leading in Europe. He is famous as a surgeon, a pioneer of science disease, as well as a pioneer in the science of skin disease. The fall of Umayyad dynasty began when the Umayyad dynasty was held by Yazid II. It was around 720 to 724 AD. The people felt that their lives were not being cared for. Therefore, riots ensued until the government changed and was led by Hisham. After Hisham's death, the caliph who were made candidates were still not appropriate or had bad morals. After Hisham's death, the later caliph were not only weak but also of bad morals. This was then used by the Abasyid to launch a rebellion known as the Abbasid Revolution. The Umayyad power in Damascus also collapsed in January 715 AD when Caliph Marwan II was defeated by the Abbasid force in the Battle of Saf. In addition, after 90 years in power, the Umayyad dynasty finally collapsed. This is caused by several factors, namely conflict between Islam and Christianity, and then the absence of unifying ideology, economic crisis, and remoteness. Well, we go to our main topic. It is about Islamic education during Umayyad dynasty. During the reign of the Umayyad dynasty, the pattern of education was decentralized. Decentralization means that education is not only centered in the national capital, but has been developed autonomously in areas that have been controlled. In line with the territorial expansion, the educational system at the time didn't save each standard. And as for the place of learning in the period of Umayyad dynasty, among others, the first is kutab or maktab, comes from the root word kataba, which means to write or a place to write. So kutab is a place to learn to write. Kutab is a place where children learn to write and read, memorize the Quran, and learn the basic of Islamic teachings. There is also a method to try by educators. In addition to directly the Quran, they also learn to write and grammar and writing. Their attention is not focused on directing Al-Quran by ignoring other lessons, but their attention to the lesson is very fast. Al-Quran is used as a language text to learn to read. After that, the verses to be written are selected to learn. Besides learning to write and read, students also studying Arabic grammar, stories of the Prophet, hadith, and religious subjects. The second one is mosque. The role of the mosque as a center of learning and teaching remains wide open for everyone who feels himself always unable to make share or direct their knowledge to thirsty people want science. During the Umayyad dynasty, the mosque was a place intermediate and major levels of learning after khutab. The subjects taught include the Quran, tafsir, hadith, fiqh, literature, language, poetry, astrology, and arithmetic. The third one is literary assembly. The literary assembly is a meeting hall prepared by the Khalfa decorated with beautiful decoration only for writers and scholars leading. The literary assembly is a forum for discussion of literary topics and as political debate forum. The attention of the Umayyad rulers was enormous, recording the rules of Nahu using Arabic and collecting poetry Arabic in the development of Sarah, Kitaba, and semi-prose. The fourth one is palace education. This is education that is organized and specifically designed for the children of the Caliph and government officials. A curriculum on education palace is geared towards acquiring mastery of controlled government or other matters related to the needs and government needs. The curriculum is regulated by teachers and parents of the student. And the last one is Badia formation. This is the place to learn Arabic fluently and pure. This matters because Khalifah Abdul Malik bin Marwan programmed Arabinization and the term Badia or hamlets appeared. The Badang Sahara Bidon are eloquent and pure in Arabic rules. Many Khalifahs send their children to reward for learning languages. Arabs and even scholars left there, including Al-Khalil bin Ahmad. Now, we would like to talk about the history. A short history of Abbasid dynasty. The power of the Abbasid dynasty was established because it continued the Umayyad dynasty. It is called the Abbasid Khalifa or Abbasid dynasty because the founders of this dynasty are descendants of Al-Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet Muhammad. The Abbasid dynasty, founded by Abdullah as-Saffah bin Muhammad bin Ali bin Abdullah bin Al-Abbas, reigned in 715 until 1258 AD. With the establishment of the Abbasid government, the center of government moved from Damascus to Baghdad. During the reign of the Abbasid dynasty achieved glory in various fields, such as administration and government sector. At the time of Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, moved the capital of the country, which was originally at Hashimiyah, to the newly built city of Baghdad in 762 AD. In this new capital, al-Mansur did consolidation and control of the government. He raised a number of personnel to hold positions in the executive and judicial institution. In the government, he created a new tradition by appointing the vizier or prime minister as the coordinator of the department, establishes an agency, state protocol, secretary of state, complaint inquiry board, and police state, in addition to fixing the armed force. And then in the field of physical development, the Abbasid dynasty built such as waterways or Zibaydah canals, mosques, roads, and etc. In the field of science, at the time of the Abbasid, there were 4 schools of thought. The first is Imam Abu Hanifah. This school uses a lot more rational thought than hadith. Unlike Imam Maliki, contains many traditions of the people of Medina. Opinion to the figure was mediated by Imam Shafi'i and Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal. Then, there is also Al-Fazari, who is famous in the field of astronomy, Ar-Razi and Ibn Sina in the field of health and psychology, Az-Zamakhshari in the field of mathematics, and the last is Mas'udi in the field of history. And then, the fourth field is in the military field. Al-Mu'tasim gave great opportunities to the Turks to enter the government. Their involvement started at soldiers' bodyguard. Unlike during the Umayyad dynasty, the Abbasid dynasty made change to the military system. Muslim practice following the war was taught. Soldiers are specially trained to be a professional soldier. Thus, the military power of the dynasty became very powerful. And then the next one is education sector. When at the time of Al-Ma'un was known as the caliph who really loved science. During his reign, the translation of books for French are encouraged. He also founded many schools. One of his most important works in the construction of Baitul Hikmah, or academics of science and technology and civilization, a translation center that functioned as a university with a large library. It was during Al-Ma'un's time that Baghdad became the center of culture and science. The last one is in the marketing. At the time of Al-Mahdi, the economy began to increase with improvement in the agricultural sector through irrigation and increased yields, meaning such as silver, gold, copper. After ruling for almost 500 years, the Abbasid dynasty finally suffered a setback caused by two factors, namely internal and external factors. The internal factors include the luxury of living among the rulers, power struggles between family or weak substitutes, economic downturn, religious conflict, and the area is too wide. While the external factors include competition between nations, external threats, many rebellions from Bani Fatimiyya standing in Egypt, the attack of the Umayyad dynasty led by Hulagu Khan, Baghdad averaged with land and ended the Abasyid dynasty. Now we go to our main discussion. It is about Islamic education during the Abbasid dynasty. During the Abbasid dynasty, especially during the reign of Caliph Harun al-Rashid, many educational institutions and observatories were built, such as Bait al-Hikmah and building a hospital to support the process learning. Okay, the first one is Bait al-Hikmah. Bait al-Hikmah is the first Islamic academic institution or institution to combine many books. Bait al-Hikmah often does the translation of books. This translation reached its peak, which lasts for 100 years from 715 AD to 815 AD. Along with the translation of the books, the copying of the books was also carried out. The second one is observatory. The construction of the observatory during the Abbasid dynasty was as an institution and center for astronomy education. And then next is a hospital. This hospital was built as a managed health education center. The educational activities that take place from theoretical to practical learning is carried out there. Besides that, the hospital is also used as a training ground for students before write their thesis. And then the last one is Kutab. Just like during the reign of the Umayyad dynasty, Kutab is used as a place of learning for children in learning basic science. The curriculum developed in Islamic education at the time, namely, first, the basic education curriculum, which consists of lesson reading, writing, grammar, hadith, basic principle of mathematics, and poetry lessons. Also, for those who improve it with Nahwu subject and stories. There is also a curriculum that was developed to be limited to memorizing Al-Quran and study the basic principle of religion. Then, there are 3 learning methods used in educational institution during the Abbasid dynasty. namely the oral or dictation method, the memorization method, and the written method. The dictation method is a method or conveying knowledge that is considered good and safe because with this dictation the student has notes that will be able to help him when he forgets. This method is considered important because in classical times printed books such as today are difficult to have. The lecture method is the teacher explain and the student listen. Qira'ah method is usually used to learn to read while discussion is a typical method at this time. The second one is the method of memorizing. This is the common features of education at this time when the student must read the lesson over and over again so that the lesson stick in their minds. And then the last one is writing method. It is copying works of scholars. This method is copying the works of scholar. In the copying of the books, there is a process of intellectualization so that the level of mastery of students' knowledge is increasing. That is the material that has been discussed from the history of the Umayyad and Abasyid dynasties, the heyday of the two dynasties, and then the factors of their collapse to the main topic of the Islamic education system during the reign of the Umayyad and Abbasid dynasties. Because the material has been explained in full, I will suffice for this time. If there is an error in the delivery, I apologize, and if friends want to add information related to the Umayyad dynasty and the Abbasid dynasty, please write in the comments below. That's all from me. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.